Hello and welcome back to Vampire the Masquerade. We're going back to Pádraic's haven, same river twice. In the quiet of my haven, thoughts of what could befall Kali tomorrow run through my head at twice the usual pace. She's staring down an unjust fate, and I'd understand if she chose not to face it at all. But I don't think she will look back down from this she will back down from this challenge, fatal as it may seem. It is a long walk to my haven, through streets slowly filling with people, the darkness dispersed by soft, warm lights spilling from the windows. Were I still mortal, I might have taken a bus, daunted by the effort and cold, worry of dangers lurking in the alleyways. As a kindred, I walk. Who am I to fear, being the apex predator of the night, and a forever cautious one at that? As I wander, so do my thoughts. It's been a difficult night for Kali in particular. We've uncovered much and we're left with no time and no answers of any value to the council. Kali's definitely got the short end of the stick here. I can't help but feel sorry for her, especially since none of it is her fault. It's just that her sire is a real honest-to-God twat. Moments like these, I'm almost glad I never knew mine, even though it left me with a plethora of my own unanswered questions. Perhaps, the council will listen to reason, just this once. Or perhaps they'll decide to prolong this torture and try to lure Reynard Cassell out with a less civilized method. There's little I can do about it, except to just wait for dawn. My haven is exactly as I left it, but with my thoughts coiling around Kali like a storm, I can't even take my comfort in the mundane. So, despite what Pádraic said, always and how he acts, he does have some feelings for Kali. I think the two of them do have some connection, feeling, maybe not romantically, but at least friends, I'm not sure. Will she find another burrow to shield herself from the day? Perhaps she will simply flee, leaving behind fighting, freezing, fawning, and aiming straight for survival, as is the only game she most often plays. Or will she follow her daredevil nature, which pulls and pushes her around like a dog on a leash, and show up at my doorstep minutes before dawn? She must know that it would mean appearing before the council tomorrow night to plead her case and possibly lose. I can't keep thinking about it. Such ramifications lead to nothing. I will find out soon enough either way. I settle down in my worn armchair and pick up the half-read copy of Finnegan's Wake. Not something anymore. Not something anyone, myself included, would call a light morning read. But I never really cared for simplicity. The more bizarre the read, the better, as it tends to quite aptly mirror my own existence, the way I need to concentrate on the weird, unique structure of Finnegan's Wake helps me calm down, rise above this world, untangle the mess inside my head. But then I hear a knock on the door, a soft one, hesitant, as if the person changed their mind midway through. I open the door to see Kali on the other side, drenched, rumpled, and exhausted, a sheepish look on her face. "Come in, sun's about to rise." I move aside, and she slips past me into my haven. Daredevil it is. She tries to nonchalantly look around as if she wasn't a walking mess, barely held together by a string of self-told lies. "You didn't oversell it. The couch is definitely still here." "I guess it's far too old to sprout legs and walk off." I grin at her, hopeful that she will appreciate that lame joke. "I do know it's not stylish, but I'm quite fond of it nonetheless." "It's charmingly dilapidated, that's for sure." "Would you rather use the bed tonight? It wouldn't be any..." She throws up her hands and immediately cuts me off. No, that's okay. Just make sure we weren't about to find ourselves in the infamous only one bed situation. I seem to have lost the thread of this conversation. Again. Kali sees my confusion and starts waving her hands around. I mean, you're not into all that bookish stuff, I thought. Okay, never mind. It's nothing, believe me. I just nod and decide not to pry any further and put Finnegan's Wake back onto its shelf. Meanwhile, Kali settles down on the couch. But, judging by her relentless tapping of her fingers, I gather she's not ready to drift away just yet. You know, if you want to talk, I'm the closest you'll get to a willing ear. Just flipping through my bucket list of excuses for tomorrow night. Because, you know, I'd like to keep my head where it is. Are you thinking of anything in particular? I know you're worried about even bringing up Vitra, but I'm fucking desperate here. And I'm ready to throw out any fake-ass bat bullshit that clings to her, even in the slightest. Vitra again. It seems that there is no escape from this particular sleeping dragon. Never sleeping, always scheming, just like you, just like you. Shush. Mentioning Vitra is a dangerous move. You know how contentious she is to the council. I strongly advise against it. A relentless burrow of curses runs through my mind, clouding my judgment with a flood of raw emotion. Fear. I stop fiddling with the books and sit down next to Kali on the couch. The council doesn't exactly have a stellar track record when it comes to making rational decisions lately. However, the web of your sire's connections is extensive and absolves your direct involvement. The council has no rational reason to put you down. I hope my tone is firm enough to finally get through to her. What happened? It's not your fault, Kali. I'm gonna stick by you tomorrow, that's a promise. I still look like a mess, but now there's also a faint glimmer of resignation in her eyes. Is there any way I could cheer her up in the face of the upcoming storm? Well, I do have a little gift for her. I reach towards the nightstand and retrieve the batteries I put there in hopes of relaying them to her. I stuff them in her hands. I almost forgot. You'll make better use of them. Confused, she looks down to see what I've handed her. Unfortunately, the longer she stares at my gift, the sadder she seems to become. Did I make a mistake? Are you sure you're alright? She gives me a forced smile. Yeah, everything's fine. Thanks, I guess I'm not really in the mood for music right now. But I really appreciate the thought. Her voice quivers a bit, so I nod, understanding that she needs some space. She lays down on the couch, fiddling with her Walkman, and soon is fast asleep. I linger until the first rays of sunshine are truly and well battling against the heavy blinds over my window, then settle on the bed to sleep as well. But I can't chase away the uneasy feeling in the pit of my stomach, fearing that the night will bring. What's happening meanwhile? Helene. Addison, what a surprise. What pearls of wisdom do you plan to bestow upon me today? The thought alone is enough to give me a migraine. You know exactly why I'm here. I do, but don't let that stop your soliloquy. This ship of ours is sailing too fast to simply turn back now. The course is set, and it seems that our captain is struggling to command her crew. A faltering captain is hardly the right kindred to help us weather the storm, don't you think? Choosing our captain isn't your place, dear friend. Perhaps not, but it could be yours. The tides of change are upon us, Helen, whether you're prepared for it or not. Don't make this more difficult than it has to be. It'd be better if you stepped aside while you still can, before it becomes inevitable. Would it now, Edison? The cards have been played in your favor, I know, but if you choose wisely, you might even seize the role of Primogen in my stead. Think of what I said, but do so quickly. Time is another ally you can't count on anymore. Helene? Such ultimatums are being held. Well then, let us conclude the night. Night 5. 3 nights till New Year. Today the void feels almost comfortable. Warm, soft, smothering. So much so that I don't want to wake up. Why would I? Yes, but I can't stop here forever. I need to wake up. I have to. I must. I claw my way out of sleep and wake up, pointlessly gasping for breath. It takes me a long while to calm down, nerves frayed and snagging on my thoughts. Little Petty scared, scorched, screwed. I check the windows and discover that the sun has already set a while ago. The urban landscape, as night never ceases to amaze me, especially in a city as big and lively as New York. So many lights, cars, sounds, people rushing around at any time of day and night. Such a stark contrast to what was out there in the times I was still alive. I can sense that Kali's awoke now, but she seems to have got up in a brooding mood. I leave her to her ruminations and calmly watch the nightlife outside the window until she pounds her fists into the couch. A hollow thud fills the room. Let's go. They're probably waiting for us already. What's the rush? It's not your head that's at stake here. True. But I promised I'd stick by you. Remember? Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just worn out and freaking out. Understandable. After all she's been through in the past nights, she has the right to be exhausted and afraid, desperate like a little rabbit caught in a hunter's snare. Listen. She rolls her eyes in a vivid annoyance. If you're gonna start with that, I'm not done talking, Kali. My voice turns firm, cool, curt, so much that she obediently closes her mouth. Well, I wish I discovered this trick 3 nights ago. Look, I can't promise you a rosy outcome. No pep talk either. You're too clever for that. What I can promise is that I will be there for you and do my best to convince the council to let you go. She just nods, kind of dazed. I see the way my words, so uncomfortable, raw and sincere, help her break through the haze of anxiety and exhaustion, anchoring her to the here and now. I'm happy to provide such comfort, as long as I'm able to. So, are you ready? Guess I was born ready, unfortunately, or at least embraced. I head to my car in silence. Kali stills and looks at it for a while, eyes empty, before inexplicably patting it gently up the roof and getting inside. Our ride is spent in silence. I am too focused on remaining cool and collected in the face of what I know is going to come, and Kali seems just too scared. So we're heading down to Queens for bad omens. It's the Ravenous Judgment Day. I promised Kali I wouldn't stand by her, and I fully intend to keep my word, come what may. We drive mostly in silence, which suits me just fine. Guess there's not much left unsaid at this point, and really not much I want to talk about either. I pull up a few blocks shy of the Elysium, parking in an alleyway, shadowed by half-built tenements that bear a surprisingly desolate look. Why we're stopping here? The art hall's a couple of blocks back down. A little walk might do us good. Clear the cobwebs a little. What do you say? She just nods, maybe with a bit of relief. Walking isn't going to change anything, we both know it, but maybe it'll maybe it'll help steel her nerves for whatever's waiting at the end of this trek. The walk is quiet, just the crunch of snow underfoot and the looming skeletons of buildings around us, their empty window frames like open mouth howling at the city. They remind me of dead trees, hollow and eerie, but enticing. Taken out of a page of a gothic horror novel, it feels oddly fitting. The irony isn't lost on me. Deep in my gloomy thoughts, the sound of a heated discussion coming from one of the sides completely passed over my head, at least until Kali points it out. What the fuck does who the fuck does construction at this hour? Nobody, of course. Not without the proper lighting, at least. Shh, this way. I tuck her a bit too sharply towards the fence and hiss for her to take a closer look at the source of the noise. Who's the hunter? Who's the prey? Shut up. Peek out, I see three, probably mortals in beat-up clothes, chatting animatedly like they're plotting something nefarious. Great. A bunch of thieves. Or just idiots betting who can haul off a T-bar. Big deal. Let's keep moving. Hanging around here isn't exactly helping me. Catch a glimpse of a handgun peeking from one of their belts. I'm not sure they're just thieves, Kali. Leave it, Pats. What's it to you? What are boys are up to? My eyes narrow, noticing out more detail. They're tense like a coiled spring ready to snap. One of them is wearing what looks like a bulletproof vest under his jacket. They could be undercover, maybe DEA on a stakeout? I doubt they're the feds either. You think? Hunters. Probably a scouting party. This close to Elysium? Fuck! We freeze, spying on them until a scratchy sound of a radio cuts the silence short. I can't hear the words, but they've been said has them dashing into the building, steps echoing up the stairs. Look how they run. Dash, sprint, climb, jump, fall, boom. I look over at Kali, fingers busy twirling my ring to calm my head down. Let's go after them. That might not be the best idea. I'm not sure. Oh, please. You've already made up your mind. Your face screams internal debate loud and clear. Right. Boom, gloom, doom, boom, boom. I have a bad feeling about this. We better figure out what they're up to. She nods and starts for the building, every move cautious and calculated. I follow, silent as the grave. We run up 10, 12, 15 floors in a blink, tailing the hunters, melding in their shadows as we go. The higher we climb, the louder the winds howl, whistling through the unfinished windows. Soon, we sneak into a vast open area, still under construction, and crouch behind a half-finished wall. The three hunters we followed in join a few others, one clutching a radio and posing like he's the boss. I take a quick look around to get the lay of the land and... Holy shit! Quiet! Among the debris of wires and building tools, there's a bright little table piled with maps and a strange screen displaying a stream of words on its green surface. Military equipment is strewn everywhere. Assault rifles, bulky vests, goggles, and notably a massive sniper rifle on a bipod aimed loosely at the street below. No, 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 no. The Inquisition, Special Forces Affairs Division. I don't think they're that. Kylie lowers her voice to a whisper. We need to get the hell out of here now. If this is SAD, if there are more of them. They're not the Feds, I'm telling you. They're well equipped, but all this screams paramilitary to me. So what's our play? A million of answers flash through my head. In the blink of an eye, all of them bear the same flavor. Hiding is over. It's time to fight. I race slowly, tensed like a predator, ready to pounce. Stay low. It'll only take a moment. In a flash, I dart towards the nearest hunter. A gruesome crunch echoes as I smash his head against the column, as easy as a grape. The rest of the hunters snap out of their daze, moving sluggishly as if suspended in amber. Dementation. I don't try to search for word most impactful, exotic or loud. The right ones come to me, as if they were waiting to be released, received by the waiting ears of the hunters. I whisper simple, cutting truth nobody wants to hear, but they do. It takes no time at all for the first of the hunters will crumble. He screams higher and higher until he's practically squealing, heads between his hands and eyes bulging out of the sockets. I pick him up by the lapels while he's distracted and hurl his body through the air, straight at the other two who scramble for their weapon, knocking both of them down. A rifle materializes in my hand out of nowhere, much like myself when I appear before the pile of hunters. With a practiced precision, fire a bullet into each of their heads. They collide with a muted thud of flesh hitting the concrete. Silence falls over the room. The immediate threat appears neutralized. I'm still riddling on my high, overwhelmed with a muscle memory of war and sacrifice, so much so that my senses are dulled. How useless. Pádraic, behind you! Her shout barely precedes the taser firing its barbs. I whirl around and needles burrow into my arm. Electricity crackles down the wires. An unwelcome tingle rushes through me, although it's far from enough to actually stop me. But while I calmly yank the needles out, the last remaining hunter springs towards the table and defiantly picks up a machete. Out of the corner of my eye, I see Kali getting ready to sprint and intervene. I need to hurry before she does something stupid. Again. The huntress advances with a blade drawn, but I'm simply faster than her. I lunge, grabbing her by the throat, and snap her neck with a brutal twist. The hideous, nauseating crack serves as a wake-up call. In the blink of an eye, I'm back to my senses. Shit, are you okay? I should have... I'm fine. It wasn't pleasant, but I'm glad you listened. There was no need for you to take risks. Oh, screw you. Making me sit here gathering dust while you're hogging all the action. I can't help but smile a bit at her mock outrage. It's good to see she's got her wits back. The flicker of the laptop screen on the table catches our attention, but the real prize isn't even that. It's the pile of documents spread across the counter, blueprints and maps, aggressively annotated with black ink. A closer look at the papers lays bare the detailed layout of the art hole and its immediate surroundings. Kali and I lean over the table, exchanging worried glances. Damn, they've mapped out everything. They know the art hole inside out, down to the last screw. This is bad. I can't even imagine what they could... Suddenly, through a gap in the wall, Kali spots something outside, probably on the roof of the building next door. Following her gaze, I see flashlight beams slicing through the darkness. She jerks into action like a cat on hot bricks, grabbing the sniper rifle propped by the window. Sweeping the gun from side to side, she peers through the scope, surveying the entire neighborhood. What do you see? Hunters. Loads of them. All over the fucking shop. Bollocks. Jesus, we're completely surrounded. Every damn direction is swarming with hunters. She jerks away from the scope, which clatters against the rough windowsill. What the hell do we do now? We've got to alert the council immediately. This is... Just then, a crackle of a patrol member's walkie-talkie cuts through the tension as if on cue. Kali snatches up the walkie-talkie, straight to hear the faint voices coming through the static. All units, take your positions. Lightbringer, confirm. Your spot. We move on your signal. It's harvest time, brothers and sisters. Let the... Drive out the darkness. Over. All hands on deck. Let's teach these fucking leechers a lesson. Over. Harvest time. They're gonna rip you out like a weed. Ha 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 ha. Kali glances at me, but I barely even see her. I am frozen in place. Long forgotten memories of bullets howling and engines roaring in the sky, thundering in my ears. Don't just stand there, damn! Move! We bolt from the building as far as our legs will take us. The cacophony of my voices brewing inside my head makes it hard to think and navigate in the labyrinth of the alleyways leading to the art hole. Run, little Paddy, or you'll have a big fall too. We manage to move unscathed through all the hunter patrols and blitz to the entrance of the Elysium. Kali makes for the door, ready to grab the handle, but it's immediately stopped and none too gently shoved aside. She lands hard on the ground before I can steady her, just in time to see one of Valerie's thugs blocking the door. The hell you think you're doing? You ain't on my say-so. I reach down to help her up, but she's already on her feet, driven by pure, unbridled rage. Get the fuck out of my way! She tries to push past him, but he is like a brick wall, stubborn and immovable. And my patience wearing thin. Hit, grind, tear, rip. What's your fucking problem? You go in when I... Patience. Patience. I punch him squarely on the face, smashing him back against the wall, perhaps a touch harder than I intended, but I couldn't help it. I don't remember the last time I was gripped with so much fury in the face of idiocy. Kali shoots me an appreciative glance, and we charge into the art hall before the hound can scramble back onto his feet. Our entrance stops the incessant debating dead in its tracks. You could hear a pin drop amidst the choked-off silence. Jaws hit the floor, eyes widen, but the only thing I really notice is the murderous look on the sheriffs showing our way. Kali nearly trips over her own feet, but regains her balance before ending in her knees. A quick glance tells me the room hasn't changed much since my last visit, except for the notable absence of torque. I barely have the wits to ponder that. What on earth is this intrusion? You cannot possibly... This is hardly the manner of arrival for someone whose fate is so precariously peached, Ravnus. Kali waves her hand desperately, trying to get their attention instead of their scorn. They're the Hun... Kadir, can we not just skip the trial? It's obvious she's courting final death here. Everyone just shut the hell up for 1 second. They obviously have a reason. I need to get through to them. Esteemed council, please, you must listen to... That fucking hound from the door grips Kali on her arm, wrenching it back harshly. And the council is still talking. And what are your plans for dealing with this, Sheriff? In my domain? Unacceptable, Valerie. Seize them. Enough. His voice slices through the chaos, commanding instant silence, as if cutting the noise with a blade. I use the moment to push Valerie thug off Kali, resisting the urge to pound him straight into the wall. The sheriff lets the silence linger, soaking it up until the last whisper dies down. Then he holds it a bit longer before breaking it like a vow. You've let your raven fly, Conroy. His words carry the weight of impending doom, heavy with promised violence. You'd better have a good reason for this disruption. Exceptionally good. We would not storm in here if... Sheriff, it's... The hunters. There's a swarm of them, armed to the teeth. They're advancing on Elysium. We saw them. The echo of her voice bounces off the walls, and suddenly everyone's too stunned to speak. The silence drags on and on. Should this prove to be yet another one of your schemes, Raven, I swear. This is preposterous. There's simply no conceivable way that... You're all completely out of your fucking minds. Just listen to her. Their ears are closed, sealed shut, the way they always have been, too obstinate, unyielding in their old, tired ways. All they do is talk and discuss and argue and scream, and nothing ever comes of it because none of them will see it crowned. Blind, old, useless statues entrenched in their power and pride. They'll all die, little Petty, and you'll be buried with them. Lightbringer, the BFB is ready for launch. Countdown imminent, over. What? Did the man name this fucking thing or what? The radio. I give Kali a look, glancing at the walkie-talkie in her grasp, and her dulled eyes light up. She straightens up, slams the walkie-talkie down in the ludicrous opulent table. The quarreling stops. They're all ears now, listening to the hunter comms. This is Lightbringer. We're green for launch. Initiating countdown. 10, 9. I feel vitae freeze in my veins. Surely they won't just... Little tower had a big fall. The sheriff twitches as if ripped out of a suspended animation, understanding blooming on his face like a blood on a broken skin. Evacuate the promises! Now, everyone! Go! Go! Just like that, it finally clicks for them. But it's already too late. 6, 5. I launch for Kali as she bolts confusedly blinding, just following the mob to try and shield her the best I can, but neither the sheriff nor all of his 3, 2. The last image seared into my memory is Kali's face just before little tower together. 1. I pull on Kali's arm, still staggering from the initial blast, and drag her away from the ruins of what was once the crowning glory of New York's Camarilla. We barely made it out of time, dodging the initial blast. Elysium is now just a burnt husk of its former self, grandeur swallowed by ferocious flames that seem to silence the desperate screams of those who fled the initial havoc. Thick smoke spirals into the night sky, fiercely tearing at its air around it. Kali seems lost in a trance, unresponsive to my attempts to jolt her awake. Nonetheless, I persist. Leave her behind, Petty. She'll slow you down, that bitch. Kali, snap out of it. Clack, clack, clack. Clickety-clack, clickety-clack. The sudden, close sound of gunfire finally serves as a wake-up call for her. Yeah. We break into a frenzied run, with me pulling her still semi-conscious self along, clutching her hands tightly. She appears mostly unharmed, bearing only minor scratches and a deep gash on her cheek. Thankfully, nothing alarming. We pass by Arturio, half leading, half carrying a barely conscious Prince Pennard. He shoots us a hateful glare before launching into a sprint. The sharp rattle of an assault rifle echoed just behind them. A few bullets whiz by, one narrowly missing my neck, leaving behind a metallic scent and the unnerving feeling of being hunted. Attention! Arms at the ready, soldier! We are about to duck around the next corner when our luck runs out. A hunter, barely a few feet away, levels his rifle at us. Goddamn abominations! I recognize him. He's the sole survivor from that mob that went after the serpents. The serpent handed him a grenade and with his unhuman charm ordered it to detonate it at their headquarters. I was certain he would be torn to shreds by now. He hesitates, lowering his gun slightly. I know, y'all. You goddamn leeches, I remember you! I bare my fangs, carefully observing his every move, ready to strike at any moment. Rip, tear, slash, rend, bleed him, bleed the fucker dry. Silence them, you. What you did? I nearly lost my damn mind. What I saw, why... He snacks his rifle up, now aiming for Pádraic's head, still following his movements closely. But I snapped out of it. Thought of your mind tricks, you don't control me. 'Cause you're shite at what you do, you cunt. I long to clutch my ring for comfort, but the risk of sudden movement is too great. My thoughts turn into a world of fierce urgency. Every part of me itches, not just for a thirst of his blood, but with the desire to rend and tear, to make him witness the final spasms of his own heart held aloft in my hand. I bore in his eyes. I slither into his consciousness in a dark labyrinth filled with vile, repurgent thoughts. Weapon down. Now. His hands shake and lower as he stutters, baffled and bewildered. His words turn into a choked gurgle as a curved blade cleaves him in two, slicing from the neck to guts like a cutting through butter. His weapon falls to the ground with a metallic clang. His torso follows, flopping down grotesquely. Then the rest of the hunter bites the snow, blood spewing out of him like a macabre fountain, unveiling the executioner. Kadir. Caddy daddy paddy weddy. I lift my eyes. His blood-streaked face is horrifying. Anger etched deep. His fangs bared, elongated. He's gonna bite you, munch you, eat you, crunch you. The gaze he fixes on Kali is cold and empty, as if she's merely an obstacle in his path, something to be cut down, dismantled, or crushed underfoot like a spoiled fruit. It doesn't sit right with me. My vision converges with my other senses, making me omnipresent, omnipotent, all-seeing. And what unfolds before me, the ruthlessness with which he dispatched his previous victims, it chills me to the core. Kadir, do not! Kadir cocks his head, almost like he cannot grasp the meaning behind the words. There's a primal edge to him, an untamed frenzy that seems to feed on something dark and ravenous. He is fury, he is wrath, he is vengeance. And those eyes, so depthless, empty, he's gone too far gone. They belong to the beast. Gunfire snaps us all back to reality. Without uttering a word, Kadir leaps into an alley, like a feral cat, ready to mangle everything and anything that dares to stand in his way. I count my blessings. They are few and far between. I catch sight of Julia emerging from the dilapidated front of the art hall, ailing, trapped over her shoulder. She passes the limp body to Valerie, who materializes right behind her. I nudge Kali gently on the shoulder, and he responds with a brisk nod. Valerie hurries past us, slips into the alley. Julia, with one arm dangling uselessly, strides up to us. Are you idiots really just going to stand here? No, obviously not. The north exit's blocked. Those assholes are pushing from the Bronx. Connor, are you glued in our safe spot in the Green Point? I don't think so, no. A deep thundering boom reaches us only moments after the ground between us explodes in a fountain of debris. We duck mindlessly, scanning for the shooter, to no avail. Surrender! Throw your hands up, bitch! Fuck! We need to split up. You two make for Williamsburg. Someone will pick you up there. Move it now! Let's go! Chop chop! She vanishes into the shadows, only her fading footsteps giving away her departure. Another loud explosion rumbles and a gunshot cracks as we attempt to sneak away from our hiding spot. That's when I catch a glimpse of the shooter, a fleeting Shine from their scope gives them away, perched on a rooftop down the street, prepping their next shot. But it never comes. Instead, a dog materializes out of thin air on the rooftop, lunging at the sniper. Its jaws clamp onto their neck, throwing them off balance. They stumble and fall off the roof. And just as suddenly as it appeared, the dog is gone. Holy fuck, did you see that? I did. It might have been a gangrel, although we'll have to ponder that later. We waste no more time ducking in the dark alleys, me in front, Kali hot on my heels. But I can't shake the feeling that only darkness lies ahead, waiting for us to come. How far can you really go? The relentless echo of gunfire fades, now replaced by the distance, mournful wail of police sirens. Good cop, bad cop, alert cop, dead, dead. We press on, but the almost palatable threat gradually seeps into my resolve. My inner voice is clearly reveling in the weakening guard, reveling in my weakened guard. So I keep spinning my ring until it hit 20 and repeat this personal ritual of mine each time the voices rise anew. Dead, 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 dead. 20. We should get moving. Yeah. We run in silence, Kali and I, executing our movement in seamless harmony, as if we had practiced this flight over and over, perfecting each motion. But the memory of the massacre I witnessed in Elysium clings to my mind like a parasite. My reaction was visceral, body reverting to its trench warfare instincts, the image of a rogue grenade shredding my comrades while I, the fortunate survivor, fled before my mind could even register the need for it. The scene of charred flesh is almost tangible, disturbingly vivid, curiously mixed with oil. As we sprint through the seemingly safer alley, a hint of burning gasoline hits my nose. The smell intensifies when we're around the corner, mingling with the fading glow of fire dwindling in a trash can, devouring whatever is caught. Kali trips, crashing into the icy slush. I move to help her up, but something stops me in my tracks. My senses escalate into a high alert, detecting the lurking danger around us. I look up, eyes adjusting to the dim light. The alley is strewn with bodies. Hunters, judging by their gear. It's deathly quiet. Deathly, dead. Died, dying. What, would you just stop? Shit, it's like a grinder run through them. Who? And she's gonna eat it too. I do not know, but we need to find another way. Something's not right here. Ain't that so fucking perceptive of you? I spin my ring like a madman. I am, but to no avail. The noise only grows, and it's the last thing I need to hear right now. But that would you ever do without us? I would be able to think. 20. I look up and freeze, seeing Kali launched upwards, her fingers stretching out, desperately trying to grab the slick surface of a flaming bottle. Somehow, she manages to secure a grip. Still airborne, she spins and throws the bottle at the nearby window where a hunter, one that I completely missed, stands with his face twisted in terror. The sound of breaking glass is quickly followed by an explosion of flames from the window, and the hunter's agonized screams fill the air. The pungent aroma of charred flesh strikes my nostrils, permeating the alleyway within seconds. Kali lands roughly on her back. I swiftly rush over and pull her back to her feet. Then a pierced scream, and the sound of smashing glass cuts through the silence. Yet another hunter trembles out the window, landing with a thud that suggests broken bones. He's followed by a dark, gloomy figure that lands elegantly next to him. Well, who else could it be? Valerie grabs the hunter by the throat, hoisting him up before biting deeply into his neck. She drinks ravenously, her victim's body spasm under the crisp grip until it finally goes limp, the last twitches fading into stillness. Valerie. She doesn't answer, still high on a feeding craze. Without a word, she spins around and disappears into a nearby building. Moments later, she emerges carrying unconscious Aisling. Both of her legs are missing below the knees. Her left arm has been ripped off at the shoulder, and her neck bears severe lacerations all over. She is also covered in extensively harsh burns, giving her skin a texture of crackled scales. It's an awful sight, stirring unwanted memories. Oh, we won't let them out of your mind ever again. Valerie and Kali's voices drift to me, but all that consumes my thought is a grim spectacle of Aisling's mangled flesh. Have a good look, pretty boy. That's gonna be you very soon. 20. You won't be walking up from the torpor anytime soon, I'm afraid. She won't be walking up from the torpor anytime soon, I'm afraid. I nod, unsure if the words were meant for me, pointing at the obliterated remains of what used to be a hunter squad. What happened? Is this of their making? He waves his hand around the alleyway, pointing to the obliterated remains of what used to be a hunter squad. Okay, again, switching third and first person. No, she found herself at the epicenter of the explosion, alongside Edison. It's miraculous she wasn't shredded. Pain? Valerie shrugs. There's hardly nothing left of him. Though we had hardly time for a thorough search. Without another word, Valerie starts to walk away. We're heading to Williamsburg. Valerie stops briefly, looking back at us through her disheveled mop of red hair. Excellent! Then she's off, sprinting away. Her dark figure casts a stark contrast against the flickering flames as she disappears into the night. I want to thank Kali for saving my skin, but she appears tense and on edge, so I simply nod in gratitude. Come on, we have a lot of ground to cover. After a grueling half-hour march, we take a break near a desolate, abandoned dump. Its landscape cluttered with rubble and crumbling walls. I pause, inhaling deeply, once again unconsciously tapping into my mortal habits, and glance at Kali, searching for a moment to speak. What's up? Got something on my face? That was sharp thinking earlier. You're really quick on your feet. She smirks at me mischievously. Yeah, try walking a mile in my boots. You'd stop second-guessing shit real quick. The sheer absurdity of the situation triggers an uncontrollable chuckle from me, with Kali joining in almost immediately. We laugh like lunatics, the high we were riding amplifying the laughter even more. It seems we both needed a respite from the relentless gloom. But the laughter is fleeting, because every time you laugh, the semen dies. A scream shatters the calm, echoing from the direction of the dump. I instantly recognize the fury tremble, and by the look on Kali's face, she does too. Julia. We sprint towards the source of the screams, eyes peeled on the threat, only slowing as Julia's voice becomes clear. She's furiously swearing at someone, her tone tinged with pain. A strange man stands over Julia, clad in a leather jacket and wearing a clerical collar, standing out against the black of his shirt like a scar on a healthy tissue. He's armed with a double-barreled shotgun, a cross-shaped wooden stake, strapped to his tight and likely harbor more lethal tools concealed about his person. And the aura he exudes, it makes my skin crawl. Run, just run, lad. He's the light bringer. He'll burn you away like... Julia is sprawled on the ground. A combat knife pinned her limp arm, while the hunter's shotgun pressed brutally against her throat. Despite her exhaustion, she clumsily reaches for a packet of cigarettes with her free hand. Her voice is gritty, but quivers as she speaks. Be a good sport and help me with this, damn. I've earned one last drag at least. You know, those things kill you. Hilarious. Did I teach you that wit in the seminary, or does just come naturally. His movements are slow, calculating, almost serene, as he lights Julia's cigarette for her. I sense Carly's unease and gesture to her to calm down. Something's not right about this guy. We should... Yes. But let's bide our time. The right moment will come. I find myself immobilized, my limbs frozen with raw, primal fear, making me want to get away from him. Spin. 20. Should I run through the comedy routine of my sins while we wait? No need. You're beyond redemption. There's no sin where there's no soul. Oh, Father, I am sinful in more ways than you can imagine. Father, I left the clergy a long time ago. Now I follow a different calling, one that has truly deepened my faith far beyond what the Holy Sacrament could achieve. Well, isn't that a fucking relief? Julia draws deeply on her cigarette, stalling for time. The hunter watches, irritation flickering across his face before he suddenly flicks the cigarette out of her mouth. I pity you, creature, like so many others I've dealt with, but there's nothing that can't be cleansed with holy fire, and I have just the remedy. He breaks open the shotgun and pulls a peculiar orange shell from his pocket, its surface marked with a stark DB. Dragon breath? Bollocks. Consider this an act of mercy. Just get on with it and save me the fucking lecture, will ya? The hunter stands, his movements meticulous as he methodically ejects the old shells, preparing to slot in the orange ones. It's my cue. Stay the fuck away. You won't do that. I forbid it. The hunter freezes as if struck by lightning, his shotgun only half loaded, his wild eyes meeting mine in a silent clash of wills. And I don't feel like the odds are in my favor, but I refuse to back down. Leave her! Now! My voice reverberates through the still air, echoing with the thunderous authority that no mortal can resist obeying. The hunter backs away from Julia, moving with the slow, lethargical steps. No, not lethargic, deliberate. Then, in one fluid motion, the hunter draws a six-shooter. The crack of gunfire shatters the eerie silence. Clatter, clatter, mindless chatter. It feels as if a wrecking ball has struck right above my lifeless heart, severing the connection between my feet and the ground. It's a brief flight, but it ends abruptly, with my head crashing against the unforgiving surface of cold, hard concrete. Endless black, dim and dark. And then darkness. There is nothing. A void, devoid of sound, devoid of scent, devoid of touch. I feel nothing except the sheer, overwhelming reality of this strange, dark dream in which I seem to be trapped. But the darkness, I can feel it, swirling and churning around me like ink, seeping into the void at the edges of this boundless expanse. Is this how it ends? It is not the end. Strange, because it's exactly how I imagined it would be. Open your eyes. My eyes are open, but I see nothing. Then open your mind. I let go of my reason, relaxing ever so slightly, and I feel something. Someone touches the essence of what is me, pulling me back from the brink, and I yield. The voices cease to clamor and stay uncharacteristically silent for what I am used to. Not that I complain, I just know it won't last for very long. As we head towards the hideout, I find my hand instinctively reaching for the wound, much like a tongue probing the gap left by a recently extracted tooth. The wound is healing, slowly but surely. By sheer stroke of luck, the seasoned hunter had loaded his sidearm with conventional ammunition instead of something far more undeadly. I saw the sorry state of his remains, reduced almost to nothing. Cardi tossed me a throwaway explanation involving animals or something to that effect. I wasn't paying attention either, so, well. During our chaotic escape, I haven't found a suitable moment to ask about what exactly happened while I was unconscious, but it seemed relatively quiet now. So, just to clarify, random animals attacked the guy. Just to help you out? Julia shrugs nonchalantly, adjusting her hold on Julia. She's limping between us, supported by our shoulders, still reeling from the earlier encounter with that salad. Oh, cut the bullshit. Modesty's not a good look on you. I don't fucking know, okay? It just happened. Honestly, I just looked at him and wished rats would eat him alive. I don't know how Kali managed to subdue that hunter. My efforts had barely scratched his ironclad resolve, and given our disparate levels of experience, hers shouldn't have been able either. But she did it anyway. We're all happier for it. It seems the stories of mortals displaying extraordinary strength, like lifting cars in adrenaline-fueled moments, might carry over into the unnatural state of existence of ours, though in a less conventional way. Still, regardless of how she managed to do it, I am impressed and grateful. Golly, that's twice you saved us tonight. I'm at a loss for words. Yeah, whatever. Don't sweat it. Look at you two. The very picture of sappiness. Disgusting. Move it. We're nearly there. We dragged Julia all the way to Williamsburg without any further trouble. But as we reach the safe house, the reality of what lies ahead settles on me with a crushing weight. You're leading her to the lair of the beast, and you know it. All I can do is hope that I'm wrong. And whether he's wrong, we shall find out next time. Thank you for watching. See you then. Bye.